Wow, all right. So we were having a conversation. I described it as interesting, and GrimDarkJames just slammed that. But he was the one having the conversation, so I know how he feels about small talk now. And in the future, I won't refer to conversations with him where he has that tone of voice as interesting, because I know his opinions on jackfruit are not interesting in his point of view. But rather than talk about that, I should be talking about how this is King Arthur Pendragon 5.2, the Grey Pendragon Campaign, episode 48. Is this episode 48? Yes, because the last episode wasn't episode 48. It was the special end of year episode, which is not have a number on it. We may do several more of those, and they will remain unnumbered even from other special episodes. The only way you'll be able to tell the difference is by looking at their place order in the playlist on YouTube.
Updating my notes right now to tell this 48A.
Well, this is 48. The last one was 47B.
Yeah, now I'm just confused.
Yeah. It's really confused when they look at the YouTube playlist and see the last episode 110, but there's 115 videos in the feed, you know.
Okay. Thanks for that, James.
No worries. I only say this because I watched a Game of Thrones actual play stream. Not stream, but series on YouTube recently that had 11 episodes in a 10 episode feed because one episode of the playlist was just the teaser trailer.
Mm-hmm. I have no follow-up.
I loved as well this week your audience tearing strips of each other in the comment section of your Game of Thrones video too.
Oh, really?
On the video?
The video, the little trailer you did. Someone's like, oh, you should definitely run this in Burning Wheel, and AP's like, no, we're using this system, and they're like, oh, I haven't looked at that system, but Burning Wheel's better. And the person below them's like, wow, they're two sentences that don't add up.
Yeah.
Burning Wheel. What a system. It's definitely something you could use for a Game of Thrones-like game. It's just not what we're going to use. Yeah. Is it better?
If we were all going down the intrigue path, and we were all, working towards a single goal, and maybe.
All I can hear right now, James, is the Game of Thrones intro music with the globular wheel spinning. Bam, 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 bam.
I'm glad you got used to the Kessel Labs thing.
I got Game of Thrones on the mind. What can I say? What can I say, audience? What year is it? 2025. But what year is it in game? 504, I think. And I'm willing to say that I'm wrong if somebody corrects me on that one. Pretty sure it's 504.
It is indeed 504.
We have a number of outstanding issues. Rather than start directly at the Pentecostal feast, we start with we hear whispers from people while we're watching a montage. This is full Kingdom of Heaven style montage of people on a horse, like a solo rider on the horse of Kyned, like going over the top of the hill dramatically, backlit, like he's shadowed. We see is shadowed. The hill is shadowed, and then the background is like sunset colors. And we hear whispering to make it imply that even though he's outside, the gossip that we're getting is from a court setting. Sir Ufo has become renowned across the islands as being good at both sword and battle due to his recent achievements at Londonium. Many knights of Ulfius who remain have gained great renown during a series of retreats away from battle. There was no battle through the streets of London, thank God, but in the field, they served well at helping to keep Ulfius' army together. He didn't lose very many of his infantrymen and such. Now, surely he can't stand against the Saxons now that they're already in the city, but he retreated in good order, although several good Christian knights gave their lives to allow for that. And a number of people are saying Nanteliod is the High King. The High King of Britain. They say now that that is him, now and always. Kendric, you hear rumors that your mother is missing, but that her friends they get letters from her. They don't know where to send letters back, but they do know that she's still alive because they keep getting letters from her talking about how alive she is.
Okay.
Did we get last episode that Cordrig was knighted?
The who was knighted?
Someone's squire. It was James's squire, right?
Yeah, I had a squire that was knighted. Yes, Podrag. Yes.
Podrag. Yes.
I also had a squire who was knighted.
So I think
James's niece or cousin or something.
We get the 6 of you, including Gwent, going in together with the 2 squires essentially acting as your like heralds ahead of you into a hall where, rather than, long benches stiffly awaiting announcements, people are standing up, moving around. There's sort of a general relaxed atmosphere as chamber music is being played in the background. We see that Countess Ellen is, of course, here. Prince Kynric is also here. And a knight whom I don't think anybody had met him. I think maybe you did meet him at Pembroke when you were on your long-range journey. He was a squire then, Locke. But if you have heraldry, you may make a roll to identify Sir Locke of Estragales.
I believe Kendric did meet him because he was the younger brother of the guy that we put on the throne.
Let's make a roll
fail.
if you're not totally sure.
Could I also make a recognize roll because I've seen him before?
Yeah.
Also no.
Oh, wow.
Same roll.
I don't think that Kyned was there. And
Okay.
I'm not going to bother to roll heraldry.
The 2 of you then definitely see someone with unusual heraldry you don't recognize. As the 6 of you are entering together, you hear the same gossipy old woman who is now ancient and decrepit. But she has on her arm a little armband that has a picture of the late Bishop Roger on it. Like a mourning band of him, like carved almost in stained glass, like him, eyes closed, hands pressed together. I thought it couldn't get worse, and it did. Oh my God, I pray this will end up ending soon. Well, we can always hope for the wheel of the Dame of Fortune to turn our way for a change. Don't even talk about that pagan stuff. It's that kind of talk that made God turn away from us in the first place, Oh, yes, I do see, grandmother. So now I start going to church and the Saxons will go away. Blasphemy, girl, blasphemy! Ah! And then the old woman faints.
Concerned if the younger people are the ones that are following paganism and the old people are the Christians saying, don't do that pagan stuff.
Yeah,
that seems a bit.
That's exactly what just happened.
Yeah, I know. All right.
Now, James, I do want to say, at this point in time, Christianity is still quite old at 504 years. Paganism could be new and fresh if you haven't seen it before. I want to point out hippies existed and they did crazy shit.
Neo-paganism.
Neo-paganism definitely sounds like a future cast member for my channel.
Also, just because, that Jesus guy was born 500 years ago doesn't mean there was a church more than 120 years ago.
I think that some Christian doctrines would say that the church always existed in our hearts. We just failed to see and recognize it.
Fair enough. Comma, however.
I agree with you that the council at Nicaea had not happened yet.
Yes.
So. Meanwhile, you've got Countess Ellen, you've got Prince Kendric, you've got the dame and the sir with a new baby for their sick new house. You've got news going around. You've got intrigue. And you have a mysterious foreign knight. And you hear Physician Quintus going around. You
Fucking Quintus.
Yes. So Quintus is just like, I have to say, if his mother was taken, it has to be fairy magic. Everyone knows that when people's mothers go missing on this island, fairy magic. The fairies did it. That's what's going on.
He's like the aliens meme guy.
Yes.
You know?
Now, if it happened in someplace civilized like Rome, could be a kidnapping, maybe a poisoning, political plot, slavery. It's so weird not having slaves around here. You people in your societal rights. So strange.
So it wasn't established that the other knight here was from Estragales?
You need to make a heraldry check to.
Okay, so I wasn't recognized his name, or recognized he was from Estragales.
Sure.
Okay. If it's not clear where he's from, then I guess I would approach him.
All right,
him on
you
behalf of the
approach this young man. Ah,
Greetings, sir.
yes, good sir. I recognize you. Are you not Sir Gwgan?
That's correct. I apologize. I don't recognize your arms.
I am a newly made knight. I am Sir Locke of Estragales.
Ah, well then we welcome you here on behalf of Salisbury. You should definitely talk with my brother. Well, my brother in arms anyway. Sir Kendric is an ally of King Nantelion. He's been there many times in the past. We are all allies of King Nantelion, but Kendric enjoys a special relationship.
I see. As he's speaking, you detect a faint hint of a Irish accent.
Okay.
You know how the British people feel about the Irish, these backwoods peasants.
It depends. Is it North Irish or South Irish?
Estragalian Irish.
Yeah, Estragales is Wales, but anyway.
Yes, but he's an Irishman from Estragales. The book does not elaborate.
I was joking about North and South. That's more of a modern thing. So
Yes. Well, somewhere out there, there's a British woman doing the 25 different accents in the tiny island of Britain, whereas we have one super accent for Boston, even though it should itself have about a dozen sub-accents.
Not wrong.
Locke looks at you. He, not being involved in this over-the-tabletop discussion, is just nodding along, waiting for you to say something else.
what brings you to our court today, may I ask?
Make an intrigue roll.
Okay. Sorry to ask a question. That's my character sheet. Sheet. Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
He looks uncomfortable answering you. Kind of glances around to see who else is listening in, and he says, I have come on courtly business. It is my understanding that a knight such as you has personal and private access to the Countess. Could you perhaps arrange a meeting on my behalf?
I certainly can. That is one of my functions here in court.
Then it is to you that I owe a favor, sir.
You owe no favor. This is purely our hospitality.
He gives you like a short nod. It's a little overdone.
I'll make that happen, but feel free to introduce yourself to Kendric in the meantime. That's him over there.
Ah, yes. I have heard of the mad old bear. They say he cut down 12 Saxons and 2 of King Nantleode's men.
As well. Many stories are told about our brotherhood, some of them are true.
Tell me, I was looking for the most famous knight. Where can I find Sir Kyned?
Oh shit.
I will point him out.
Okay. Then, if you'll excuse me, I wish to go ask him about the song. The tales of his brotherly love for his fellow knights on the battlefield, as depicted in the poetic saga that is evolving, are the thing of legends up north.
Don't let me stop you. He's right there.
He gives you another head nod and then kind of fast steps with his hands clasped behind him as he moves forward. You can see that his clothing is like slightly more, I want to say quilted, like it's made for someone from a colder environment. It's thicker than normal. He moves to stand near you, Kyned, but not say anything or get involved. His body language is like someone looking for an opportunity to talk to you, but hasn't found it yet. But is more awkward in not joining in.
Good Sir Knight, welcome to our hall.
Ah, thank you, Sir Kyned.
You have me at a disadvantage. I do not know your name.
I am Sir Luck.
Sir Luck. Welcome to Salisbury.
I appreciate the welcome.
May I stand you a drink?
Yes. Thank you very much, sir.
Let's go over here. It seems like the best ale is over on this side of the hall.
As you go over, you pass Physician Ilchin, who gives you a look, like a rundown, and then as you're walking past him, he loudly says to someone, "Oh, he's not looking well. Is that a gray hair I see?"
You mean Quintus?
Yes, sorry, Physician Quintus of Ilchin. Yes. Ah, so you've encountered your rival at a feast. Your stress level is building. How would you like to respond?
I feel like that I will take the Solaris Knight's stress explosion and say, "Oh, you think that the gray hairs are on my head? You should see the ones on my balls." Got him.
I think that this is something you're going to have to roll personality traits for. You know, this kind of outburst will definitely have a clap back to it for sure. I think let's make a reckless roll.
I need to find reckless.
Wow. If I'd known about Crusader Kings 3 while writing the rules for Solaris Knights, I probably would have written them a little differently. Critical reckless.
So that's check and goes up?
Yes, check and go up. You absolutely pop off on this guy. Not only do you say that, you keep going. You don't stop. By the end of it, everyone in the hall has stopped doing what they're doing to turn and look at your beratement of him for his extremely rude and uncourtly behavior as a foreigner who's cosplaying as a local person of importance, who isn't even a noble and needs to be invited to come here every year. How dare you insult someone of noble blood like you? You just lay into someone. The physician is, at first he weathers it like, yes, I got the reaction that I wanted. This overreaction will make him look foolish. And then as more and more of the hall turns, it definitely seems like he's looking around. People aren't shocked by what you're doing. Someone nearby goes, yeah, that's right. Shut the hell up, man. Several people just start laughing, and no one is trying to outrightly further insult this man, but there's a lot of turning their backs toward him and going back to whatever they were doing, rather than anyone feeling outraged by you. Sir Lack goes, the legendary passion that allowed you to defeat 3 men in the wine shop cellar. So the physician is just standing there.
Drink.
Yeah, okay. You walk away. Now that you've given him an opportunity to do something other than get wrecked, he leaves the party altogether.
Oof.
So while you had a stress break, he is now also going to have a stress break. Just to go ahead. You guys are just making things worse for each other, which classically is how rivals work overall. I do love the idea that he's been karaokeing you the whole time, showing up and being like, smell you later, Kyned. Sir Lack gets one of the drinks, takes a sip from it. Seems like the kind of person that doesn't drink because they like the taste or anything, like they don't want to get drunk. They're just doing it because everybody else is doing it. And just little sips. Some of the tilt the cup back but keep your mouth closed so it just gets on your lips sort of deal. It's pretty easy to spot. This is not a intriguing character. I mean, you've got this guy's number real quick. This is straight up hero worship coming from this young man. I hardly know what to say, sir. Obviously, you are such an important and storied knight, and I am just recently minted from Estragales, but your incredible defense and helping break the siege, they say that you managed to hold off 5 men versus the castle walls, while the leader of the enemy forces with a huge mace swept at you and tried to push you off the walls so you would plummet to your death. And yet, with the faith of God in your heart, you dug your shield down and managed to keep yourself from going over the edge. And then you rode your shield down the stairs while firing a bow, and you killed 3 men before you reached the edge of the staircase.
I am a boastful man, but even I have to say, I have never fired a bow in my life.
Not even to hunt, sir?
The rest of that story, though, I can tell you, is absolutely true. But only was capable because of my brothers at arms. If Kendric had not scaled the wall at the very moment that he did with the relief troops, I would surely not have lasted but another minute under such an assault.
I didn't realize he scaled the wall. I had heard that he was flung via siege engine up the side of the wall.
I will admit I wasn't looking. It could have been that. He could have farted really well and just, launched himself. I'm not really entirely sure. Just suddenly he and it was there, and thank God for that, because we broke the siege as brothers.
So your casual speech about farting, brings a sort of look of neutrality and displeasure to this. Like you've made this beautiful story he has in the head kind of strange now that you're talking about weird, uncourtly behaviors. But as he explains to you, he heard the story directly from people singing it, bearing your own banner in the court of Estragales. The story now includes a chapter where the mad old bear, was flung via a siege weapon that was hastily constructed in the courtyard, and then managed to stay in the air by using a two-handed greatsword to spin like a top, which allowed him to remain perfectly balanced and then cut the heads off of 3 people as he slowly landed like what are those seeds from trees that do the like helicoptering down?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're describing that happening, but with a sword
seeds,
and a person as the seed. And he cut off 3 heads on it on landing.
Oh well, that part is absolutely true. I just I didn't see the siege engine because I was too busy. And I'm sorry if I offended you. Kendric and we go way back, and so
I am
but absolutely, he absolutely beheaded three men, and if not for that, I would have been done for.
Sir, what I was looking for in being a knight, what I had been trained to be as a knight, was somewhat more refined and courtly, my ideas of what being a knight would be, than the reality. Those who I squired with kept a very different view of things. Perhaps I was
will say that when Uther was still High King, courtliness meant something. But in these dark days, more is in strength of arms and strength of brotherhood and knowing that you are fighting the just fight. I hope that one day we can come back to courtliness as a primary function, but we've got Saxons all around us. It is every duchy for themselves. It is only because of the Countess and now my special relationship with Ridichan that we were even allowed to help there.
I must say, we are knights, sir. Our purpose, perhaps, is not to be courtly, but it is to act in defense of the sword that we have sworn.
100%.
I am just adjusting to the recognition of how things really work. But come, tell me more about what you're speaking of, this adventure in Ridichan. I've only heard about the siege of the castle. It sounds as if there's much more to do, and the two of you continue talking for some time, unless there's something specific you want to talk to Locke about.
So, I'm glad that that you enjoyed the hospitality of my minstrels, and don't get me wrong, they tell great stories, but was it simply that brought you to Salisbury, or was there something deeper behind it?
Make an intrigue roll.
218.
You see him glance over towards Gwgan, and then kind of clear his throat and stand at something like attention and say, I have been brought here on courtly business. I am to meet privately with several individuals. I'm afraid I am not at liberty to say more than that.
Would you like me to make introductions for you?
I would be deeply honored, sir.
Who would you need to meet with?
Well, for now, I will go with the introductions that Sir Gwgan has arranged for me. If I require more introductions, I will come back to you.
Very well.
You get the idea of someone who, based on the conversation you've had with him so far, you definitely get a vibe of someone who should be telling you these things. Like casually. But they have now split from casual conversation mode to office mode. And there is private business that they are not speaking of specifically to you.
I will say, if you need a more private word with someone, that is more my department than Gwgan's.
I see. He doesn't say anything further and looks somewhat uncomfortable. He takes a slow sip of his beer. Ah, yes, you are right. The beer on the left side of the hall is slightly different and better than the beer on the right side.
Well, Sir Locke, if I can be of assistance, I am at your disposal.
I appreciate that. And I am also at your disposal if you require anything from me.
And if you would like to hear some more interesting songs, may I present Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Actually, Breakfast at Tiffany's has completely changed.
I was about to say they've broken up. I was going to go, what?
No. So Breakfast at Tiffany's is now 4 guys who do barbershop quartet covers of the old songs. They don't look anything like the old band, which would, as you met them, they were only like a dozen people, and then they slowly grew to a bigger and bigger caravan because of their wealth and your status on the rise. This is just 4 guys now. But they still call themselves Breakfast at Tiffany's and reported to you as if it was something very normal to do. You bring them over to the 4 guys, and they begin doing a barbershop quartet cover in Latin of Mr. Sandman.
Which Mr. Sandman?
Bum 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 bum
okay.
bum bum bum.
Excellent. And is Simon Chicory still the
No, you don't
leader?
see Simon Chicory here.
Interesting. Making a note to myself for end of year to figure out what the hell is happening here and if I need to commission a new troop.
Spoon, what do you got going on?
Were there other emissaries at this feast?
Prince Kendric.
Prince Kendric, okay. I think I will just gather the news if there's anything going, like what's going on the island.
You hear that the King of Somerset has sent a herald to ask for help in fighting King Idris. The King of Cornwall is sure to attack this summer. Now, you remember last year, there was a lot of mixed news. You were sure that King Idris wasn't attacking, but you heard from several people that he was attacking. Now, the news over the winter was that he never attacked. And now the news is he's attacking again. But this is the King of Somerset saying it. And if a multi-100-year-old wizard prince says it, that's a little different.
Is he asking just generally?
Uh, uh, yeah, yes, sir. He is asking for anyone that can come. I can speak to my great uncle 4 times removed on my mother's side.
Very well.
I believe I recognize you.
Yes.
Are you not Sir Kyned?
No, I am not.
I apologize. I was looking for the leader of the Order of the Magical Wooden Axe.
That is Sir Kyned over there, but we don't actually have a agreed upon leader. It is kind of the council of 3 or 4 at the top, really. But Gwent is kind of
Yeah, we are
indisposed at all times.
We are the knights of the triangular table.
Oh yes,
Yes.
Sir Gwent. We know him extremely well. He shows up from time to time.
Yes. What did you have something, a message for the Order of the Axe, or?
I had merely wished to observe them. It sounds as if you are a member.
I am indeed. I'm Sir Kendric.
Oh, yes, Sir Kendric. There has been recent news of you in the halls of Somerset.
Oh, what might that news be?
He takes a moment to swallow slowly and then says, "Nothing bad, I'm sure. We're just looking for allies to ride out and help in Somerset. But not you specifically. There's no reason
see.
for you to come to Somerset right now."
Yes, of course. You would not want a fighting man such as myself coming to defend your castle.
Sir, I am here as a herald of the King of Somerset, and if I have offended you, I must offer recompense.
Have nothing but friendship for the King of Somerset. He has been, we have aided him on several occasions, and he has been very generous, and his rewards and his friendship.
I can only say that I have been directed to specifically extend an invitation to several individuals here and in general. But there is no reason for you to trouble your heart and travel to Somerset, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps you would be best resting and recovering from the deep wounds upon your soul.
Well, I wish you luck in fighting King Idris, then.
I thank you. And I will make note of this conversation to the king.
Give him my best wishes.
Okay. James, you got something?
I mean, I'm going to go to the Countess to facilitate having sort of like meet with her.
Sure. Is this
and I'm
anything
happy-
more than just like a above the table conversation like that, or?
No, I think that's all it is. I think that I don't get the intent of intrigue here, so it's more really just that, you know, this person wants to meet with you. I think that you should meet with them, and then if you need be, we can discuss it afterwards.
Okay. All of you make special note of Locke leaving the area because you got a success on your intrigue, but not a critical. And the Countess also discreetly leaves some short time later.
I have a quick clerical matter for the 3 of us.
Yes.
Now, when you say
we
clerical
have-
matter, do you mean record keeping, or do you mean who's going to replace Bishop Roger?
I mean record keeping for the Order of the Axe. That's traditionally in the past, our squires who have become knights, we have offered them places within the Order of the Axe, which would we like to continue that tradition with Sir Padraig and Dame Kristen, who were knighted this year.
So my only comment, look, Padraig has been a more than adequate squire, and I'm sure he will be an adequate knight. He has not yet been blooded in battle, though. We've been so long between conflicts that I think that at least I believe that our order as a martial order needs our members to have been blooded in at least one battle.
Well, Dame Kristen has served with me on campaign, even though nothing of major size like Lindsay or obviously the battle at London. But
No, I think that from what you told me, she has acquitted herself in warfare, and I would not object there. But Podre, I think, still needs he has something to prove, and it would diminish us, I think, to simply extend the invitation as a matter of course, simply because they squired with
our
us.
squires.
Yeah,
Very well. So all in favor of extending an offer of membership to Dame Kristen?
I agree.
Very well.
Sure.
And I'll let Pod know literally, what the requirement is. I'm sure that an opportunity to acquit himself in battle will arise soon, even if he chooses to go help Somerset or join Nanteliod for if the councils will give him dispensation, that would be enough.
Very well. So then I will go find Dame Kristen and offer her membership in the Order of the Axe.
Okay. Accepted.
All right. I'll add her to the rolls.
She gets a special Dakota ring.
Did Kyned over here, or did Kendric tell Kyned that the squire from Somerset was asking for him?
He probably would have mentioned that the Herald from Somerset is looking for knights to go aid the king, except for me apparently. But he has been our.
If you don't tell Kyned that he's meant that he mentioned Kyned by name, then Kyned won't go seek him out.
Okay. Because I think Kendric thinks that he said that as a dig at Kendric.
Mm-hmm. Not because Kyned was the one that
sent all the messages and stuff.
Ah, yes, the leader must be the one whose name is signed on the piece of paper.
Yeah.
What an unreasonable thought.
I'd like to make an intrigue roll here real quick, just to see if Kendrick realizes that might be something more than just a general call for.
Sure.
Fail. He will say though, he says, the King of Somerset has always been your friend, if not ally. I was thinking of having the Order of the Axe go fight for him this year, but I don't know. Their messenger put me off and actually mistook. Well, we don't really have a leader, but he mistook me for you, Kyned.
Really?
Yes.
Because we look so much alike.
Yeah, that was what I said. Well, that's what I thought, but I don't know now.
Well, let me see if I can get anything out of him. But if nothing else, it'll be a good chuckle.
Mm-hmm.
Allow me to be brutally honest for a moment.
Very well.
I certainly laud your suggestion that we assist Somerset. The pragmatist in me notes that Idris has been very successful in his campaign, and I have not yet seen anything which leads me to believe that Somerset will pose anything more than a bump in the road for the Duke of Cornwall. And so I worry that we'd be sending people to fight that we may need later to stop, when Idris reaches here.
It is true that he has not been stopped. Well, he was stopped once by Devon, and then they've since fallen. But and I agree. He does seem to be somewhat unstoppable.
I mean, we have Idris to the west, we have the Saxons to the east. We don't really have allies, and I agree that making allies is a good way to go, but I feel like we'd be throwing good men into the butcher's block to send them to Somerset now.
Well, and I was expecting the Herald to specifically entreaty the Order of the Axe for aid because we're holding that bronze axe for the king, but apparently not.
Well, let's see what it is that this representative of Estragals has to speak to the Countess about first. I'm sure that whatever it is, she will bring it to us before she actions it.
I will go and speak to the Herald from Somerset.
I think that we'll take a break, and when we come back,
Okay.
we'll do
Fair enough.
the Somersety Herald. I mean, he keeps talking about a force to help strike at Somerset, some sort of Somerset strikers.
You dare refuse my bachal?
I
Yeah,
did.
look, Cornwall attacked his home county, so
Just King Idris has the EI tattoos.
Okay, we'll be back. Well, friends, just know that James said some really mean stuff to me, and I'm devastated. Before we go back,
today, or are you talking about it like a previous incident?
I'll skip what I was going to say then.
Oh, sorry.
Wow.
What were we doing? The audience should know that I was like, I'm just gonna drink a little bit of water and close my eyes. And then I jerked awake and I was like, oh my god, I was asleep. How long was I asleep for? I came back over and forgot to set my alarm.
Like I've certainly had games where the GM was falling asleep while running the game. So
I don't know. I didn't think I was tired. I thought I had a lot of energy in the first part, but now I don't know. Also, there's an earthquake here, so.
We were doing Kyned was gonna go talk to the Herald.
Yes, the Herald from Somerset.
Somerset.
Yes. So the Herald nods towards you as you approach. He's standing around underneath the banner of Somerset, just greeting people who come by, speaking with them amicably, making a beseechment to anyone who looks particularly important. And he says, "Ah, a learned man. You're Sir Kyned.
I am. I heard you were looking for me.
You were pointed out to me by the estimable warrior, Sir Kendric."
That he is. And what can I do for you, good Herald?
Nothing in particular. I simply was interested to gaze upon your visage, as one might say, very loquaciously. You are quite famous in the court of Somerset.
Why, thank you. I mean, I have done a good turn for Somerset, but I feel like it has been mutually beneficial.
He just kind of nods and looks around casually and says, "Yes. Your order has been extremely helpful, and you are well honored among our people. Although several debaucherous songs about you are being sung that are clearly falsified in nature, you may know that Somerset deals in real magic from time to time, and even we cannot conjure up such tales as the singers say about you."
Well, showmanship is something that we mere mortals do need in order to go about our business.
Is there something I can do for you?
I was coming to ask the same of you. Kendric had said that you had mentioned me, so I did want to come over, pay my respects, and see if there was anything that I could do to be of service.
Oh. Yes. So, the Order of the Axe is well honored among the people of Somerset.
Well, thank you.
We do not specifically need the Order's aid at this time. Although if you were to personally lend your aid, we would be happy to have you.
Is there a particular reason that you... Has Kendric offered some sort of offense? He seemed quite put out that you, pushed him off.
I think there needs to be a role of some kind here.
And I'd call for intrigue, but, you know, that's just me being me.
Yeah, I think intrigue is reasonable.
Oh my god.
Unbelievable. I was gonna say that could happen.
I can't even.
Yeah, he rolled a 20 for the folks at home, so that's a critical failure. A fumble, one might call it. He clears his throat and kind of adjusts the collar of his shirt, of his tunic, and says, Sir Kendric has offered no offense, but I'm sure you've heard the tales. I will not break any of the rights of hospitality here, nor would I want to induce Sir Kendric to do the same. His black rages are legendary. And as I said, he is an estimable warrior. And under many circumstances, we would love to have him by. But I fear that any castle which is under his defense may be leveled from the inside. I'm speaking on a personal, casual, off-work premises, HR not recording.
My comments and opinions do not reflect.
Yes, do not reflect on the King of Somerset, the Lost Art of Magic, or the Kingdom of Somerset itself. These are my personal thoughts. Facebook must delete this comment within 30 days.
I understand, good sir. I can only say it happens to a number of us mortals from time to time, that something comes upon us, but I understand that it has come upon Kendric most recently, and if that gives you pause, I will say that he is the strongest of us, and someone that I would always have at my back, but I have known him for all my knightly life.
Somewhere out there, someone is making a God of War / The Last of Us crossover called The Strongest of Us. That's just Kendric in the aftermath of slaughtering his entire family, crossing the Midwestern United States, killing more people, but being really sad about it the whole time.
Wow.
And then at the end of it, he has to kill his son. All right. I don't think that this Herald has much else to say to you. He's deeply
Fair
uncomfortable by this conversation.
Fair enough.
Now, if you were to offer him a specific handkerchief or the orange covered the orange cover with the handkerchief, that would unlock a new set of dialogue. But until you come back having gotten that, or the subway token, if you give it to him, you get special.
If you were looking for a sword, when would you need someone to come?
If you'll excuse me, sir.
Very well.
But he doesn't go anywhere because he's underneath the banner for.
Yeah, fair enough. I walk away.
What's next?
I'm waiting for Ellen to finish her meeting so I can go and, like,
if she has any.
Have we decided what we're doing with the Saxons this year?
I mean, I think that unless something has changed, we just keep doing the same thing, paying the same person. It's been working for us so far.
Okay.
But that's up to Ellen once again.
All of you get pulled into a larger conference. It's not like secret for just you, but many of the knights, basically anybody that's not a progress knight, MIC fighting, is called into sort of a larger briefing where the Countess lets you know that King Nauntleode wants to march across Salisbury, and he wants Salisbury to march with him in attacking the Saxons. And that it is her judgment that would not be a good idea at this time. That when I say they, that Salisbury should remain neutral in the fighting, that this is a rich land that has been one of the few that has prospered during this time and have not lost many sons or daughters. No one has known the criminal touch or the wave of war that has passed over the other lands, and that there is no reason now for them to break this just because of a man who has not actually won the title of High King. But she's willing to hear arguments from anyone who thinks that they have a different way of seeing things. The Quintus begins going into a long-winded
Oh, hey, baby.
speech
I didn't
about
hear you come in.
Someone already said Locke. For now, all I can think about is the philosopher John Locke, and I think I'm trying to come up with the Socrates quote. I'm kind of tired, and I just had a pop-up just show up, and I was like, "Where the fuck is this pop-up, man?" Yeah, the physician Quintus of Ilchen is basically going in and just being like, well, it would be necessary for us to pick a side sooner rather than later, my lady. It is quite important to understand that these sort of things happened in Rome all the time, and that those who sat out were given less positions than those that joined. Sorry?
Leave? Didn't Quintus leave the party?
Yes, but he
after
came back for this meeting of important people,
Oh.
to which he was not invited, by the way, because he's not a knight. He's just showed up in the room.
Sorry, don't believe that you have the clearance to be here while we speak battle plans.
I'm sorry, my understanding of your language must be rough. What is clairance? Is that I don't have a bottle of wine?
Okay, there's a Boudreaux and Thibodeau joke in here, but it's way too long to tell. So I think Kyned just nods to the household guards to remove Quintus.
Oh wow, this is an escalation.
Tell the guards to see he gets some wine.
Yeah. There you
Oh
go.
yes. Oh no, Gwgan does that. Yes, and then everyone laughs and embarrasses him further. Okay. Now, if this was the show Vikings or something like that, these or Game of Thrones, these men would take him aside and then drown him in wine. You know, literally killing him by dunking him in a barrel of wine until he dies. Yeah, so he's led away. The Countess says, "Our friend from the Latin provinces is correct in that if we do not act now, we may be seen as outsiders."
I think that, first off, it's beneficial to us to have additional forces in our lands, friendly forces, I should say. I would certainly be saying to Nanteliod that he is welcome to bring his forces through Salisbury. That we provide open borders to his armies to move through. I think that I do agree that it's too early for us to commit. Yeah, Nanteliod seems to be, in a position where seems highly likely to me to take the role of High King. But we still need to also keep Ulfius on side, since he is the only other one I think that has a strong claim. But by allowing Nanteliod's forces to come through, we provide for our protection, and we can also simply say that we need more time for our forces to be ready to march and join an army. We're not on a war footing, and it will take us at least another season to reach that point, and hopefully by the time that becomes something that can be challenged, we have a fairer idea about which force we want to throw in with. But I think sooner or later you will have to commit to supporting one of the candidates for High King. And as I said earlier to our brothers, from the west we are at risk from Idris, to the east we are at risk from the Saxons. We need allies. We can't stand alone forever.
As you finish speaking, we have a moment that's kind of like Kingdom of Heaven, a king is speaking sort of deal. Like everyone is hushed as a knight pushes his way forward. He Assassin's Creed pushes people out of the way to stand in front of you and between you and the Countess. He is tonsured now in a way that you hadn't seen before. Not necessarily like the friar tradition has popped up yet, but he's also wearing a giant, enormous silver cross, and it is Sir Leo, and he says, "There is much wisdom in what you say, Sir Gwgan, and you are certainly a man who is well acquainted with violence. But allow me to say this about your suppositions. Your entire argument is predicated on Nanteliod having a claim or Duke Ulfius having a claim. There is only one claimant to the throne of the High King of Britain. It is the heir of Uther Pendragon, and he will return when the time is right." And people are like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and like some people are like shouting Nanteliod, and some people are now shouting Pendragon, Pendragon, and the two of your discussion has now factionalized the hall where a moment before they were totally united in neutrality. Chaos, pure chaos.
I think Kendric will try and shout the room down and talk for a moment.
The king, silence! The king is speaking.
While it is true that the heir to the Pendragon line is out there somewhere, it is still several years, theoretically, before he would come of age. In the meantime, King Nanteliod is our best chance to hold the ground against the Saxons. We've lost London. There are other lands under siege. we need someone who can unify us now rather than waiting for an heir who may or may not come. I believe as strongly as each of you in the strength of the Pendragon bloodline, but a heir in the bush is not worth two in the hand. So I feel we must at least give some support to Nanteliad, even if it is just allowing him travel through our lands this year, rather than divide our county between someone who can help us now and someone who may be able to help us in the future.
Let's make a roll.
Sure. Would you like courtesy or orate?
I think this is actually a trait roll.
Oh, okay.
I think that this is a prudent roll.
Prudent, okay.
Is that crazy?
I don't think so. I think it's very prudent advice for sure, I think. That's a failure.
Okay, I'd like you to roll reckless. If you fail this as well, you get to choose what you do.
I succeed on reckless.
I'm sorry, Sir Kendric. You have it in your heart. You want to say everything that you just said, but instead, you're driven by a lust for war and battle that has been growing inside you your entire life.
Can I modify the ending?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think instead of saying like, we need to, at least let Nanteliad cut through our lands, he goes, like, I fought alongside King Nanteliad for the last 2 years, and I think we should draw swords with him again now before, strike while the iron is hot, become his ally now so that we will have greater favor later, and send a bigger force to fight the Saxons in the east.
All right, so the budget on the show ran out. We're doing an episode 1 Galactic Senate CGI cutscene where it's just like the front row of people are real actors all going, yeah, and then everyone else in the background is CGI'd in of people rabble rousing, not strict violence, but like people shouting at each other where some are like, Nanteliad, and others are just like, Countess Ellen. Yeah, like you have, instead of chilling the temperature, you brought it down for a minute, and then boiled over and exploded.
Actually, we should fight with Nanteliad. So should I check reckless here or what?
I think so, yes. Okay. But it doesn't go up by one because
because I didn't agree.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like this situation is going to get resolved anytime soon. This is one of those arguments that like has to happen and people need to get their shit out. But the Countess Ellen leaves the room in a way that makes it clear that there's no counsel to be had here. Like, people have stopped listening to each other and no one is saying anything to her, and that a lack of respect for her court has been noted. But these kind of things happen when you're passionate knights.
I think that I probably leave the room to go after her, not to like convince her either way, but simply to support her.
Okay. Kyned, what's going on with you?
He just keeps failing so many rolls. So probably not a whole lot. I think Kyned would have probably voted for the cooler heads route, but seeing how Kendric whipped the crowd up so much, he's not going to try to stand in the way of that. And so we'll just have a lighthearted scene where Kyned goes out and meets his latest incarnation of minstrels and tries to decide if they're worth his time to keep or not.
Okay, so you go to talk to one of the men, and he says, "I'm a lord. We are breakfast at Tiffany's."
So you say.
Indeed, sir.
And where are... I had his name just a minute ago, and now I don't have it anymore.
Simon Chicory.
Simon, yeah. And where is Simon Chicory?
Simon Chicory passed some weeks ago.
I see. And where is the rest of the troop?
Most of the troop is dead, sir.
How did that come about?
Roads are dangerous. Make an intrigue roll.
Oh, God. Hey, 8 on a 18.
You start having a conversation with him. He claims to have been Chicory's brother, and that he, was invited in by his brother, and this seems like a really sweet gig for it, and then he's thrilled to be under your charter, and he learned everything he could from his brother. But as you're looking at him, he just keeps rubbing this cloth that he keeps out of his belt. You know how people have belt chains in the 90s? Mm-hmm. It's like that, except it's not attached to anything. It's just a piece of cloth. You see a little blood there. You just are getting the weirdest fucking vibe about this guy, how some of the things he's telling you don't line up with what you know about Simon, which isn't really a lot. And then he gets the names of some of the people that were in the band that you've known for years wrong.
Kyned has been in his position long enough that he's not going to say it to this guy's face, but he is going to quietly dig around to try to find out what happened to Simon Chicory, so if he needs to kill this guy, and also start putting out a call for new musicians.
Okay. Now hold on. I'm going to make a roll. Okay. I'm going to make another roll. Okay, so the first roll was intrigue. He's trying to get a read on you. That's a successful roll. The second one is dagger. So he gets the vibe off of you that you are about to replace him, that you don't appear to suspect the truth about what he did, but he gets the idea that you're about to do something that's going to make life harder for him. So he whips out a dagger from his belt and goes to stab you in the stomach. I need you to roll versus your sword to defend yourself, although you don't actually have a sword. Actually, I think probably your dagger skill, if you could roll that for your defense.
Oh, God.
You can always impassion yourself, because this isn't a huge surprise. It's one of those, he pulls the dagger out. Ha! Yeah! There's a wind up to it. Now, if you fumble here, you're going to get stabbed, and then you're going to be stunned and dying, and he's going to leave you bleeding out on the feast floor.
So mechanically, I very much want to impassion.
Yeah.
But I don't know that any of my passions, game-wise, actually make any sense here.
I think honor.
Okay. I will take that. That's a success. All right. So
what's your dagger skill now with the +5?
So that'll give me a 50-50 shot.
Okay. Well, your
Oh,
honor. How high
Jesus,
is
that
your
shouldn't have
honor?
been passion. That would have been a crit.
You catch his wrist, and you hold it tightly enough that his weak, frail, commoner wrist, it doesn't snap, but the tension of it causes his hand to spasm, and he drops the dagger. He manages to wheel away from you, like, ha! And start fleeing from the hall.
Guards, seize him.
Okay. They easily catch him. Now, in a regular night, I think he would easily get away from the guards, but we literally just had a massive chaotic screaming fit, and the guards are probably all super tense right now. And so yeah, this guy goes to run, and one of them takes a pole arm as soon as he exits the keep doors, holds it there, and this dude runs into the pole arm and gets flatlined into the ground. And then there's two guys with pole arms over him, and one of them goes, "Go ahead, bub, make my day. Were there 2 spikes on the end of this, or 3?" The other guard goes, "That doesn't sound as good. There's obviously only 1 spike on it. He can see that. What are you even on?"
This here is the biggest spear in the village.
Sorry, he's not Kendric. That is a Kendric line for sure. I'm waiting for Kendric to evolve into being Robert Baratheon. He just needs to start beating his wife, drinking a lot. Gods, I was strong then at St. Albans.
Go fetch the breastplate stretcher.
Can I take a check and dagger?
Yeah. The Countess's household guards carry this guy away, and they send somebody to gather up the other members of Breakfast at Tiffany's. I think it becomes
Excellent.
quickly clear to you that Breakfast at Tiffany's was ambushed and killed and were replaced by these people who appear to be agents of some other power. I will note, none of your usual intrigue partners were present today. I don't think you noted that, but now you're noting a lack of intrigue partners.
Anything else to do at the feast?
I think at the feast, the story going around is that it was a bunch of drunk minstrels. Thought that they could get uppity about Kyned. Nobody's suspecting that this is part of a deeper political intrigue. Nothing else at the feast, although I will say tensions are high. They're at the highest probably they've ever been. Like, people are rubbing each other the wrong way. It's like a group of cats that have all met for the first time. People who've known each other for years are now sharply divided over the Nantleode issue. Well, gentlemen, could I beseech upon you that we close up here for this episode before I fall asleep on camera, or have another moment where I go, "John Locke," and
no worries,
apologize
AP.
for my unseemly tiredness.
I've been up since 5, so I'm right there with you. I am not going to fight you on wanting to end early.
You did just survive an earthquake as well, so.
Oh, come on. Well, you showed up for the episode, so you get 1 XP. Now let's go ahead and
I did a long-term goal.
yeah.
So on this topic, so I have an issue next week.
Okay.
But I could potentially do another 1 hour where we do the
we have
for
stuff
this
to
year.
do during the year, but yes, if we only have 1 hour, I guess we can cram it all in. Let me just double check. Maybe we don't have stuff to do. That's next year, perhaps. Oh yeah, there's nothing else this year.
I was
Yeah,
like 404.
well, we do have to do the Christmas court as well. But if you want to just speed through that and we do the end of year stuff, I think that's reasonable. So what are we calling next episode? Is it 49A or is it 48B? Let's just lock that in here. Thanks for laughing at that joke. It wasn't funny, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts before we wrap up tonight?
It's always good to get in a Pendragon game.
Absolutely.
The Mad Bear. Consequences of your slaughters come back to roost.
Yeah. Consequences of my 4 fumbles in a row.
Glad to see that that Kyned's been practicing spontaneous knife defense.
Right.
If only he had shifted to Benetti. But I am not left-handed.
Why are you
Neither
smiling?
am
Because I know something you don't know.
Thank you for the folks that showed up to the Raid Train event earlier today. Really appreciate the support.
Chat says Breakfast at Tiffany's has been infiltrated. Yes, they have. They've been replaced. Oh, I didn't realize Glimo subbed to me and sent a message. Thanks, Glimo. 81 months. That's a number of months.
Yeah, we shouldn't be that old. That shouldn't.
That's a hateful comment.
Yeah, if a person came up to you and told me their child's 81 months old, I'd be like, are you still through that seriously? Can't we talk in years now?
Wow, what a great closing thought.